Really, a lot of people can have their eyes open and be on their feet and be quite asleep. And if you're not sure about that, watch the next time you're in a crowd of people and people walk perhaps on you, in front of you, past you in ways that you realize you're not even picked up on their radar. They don't see you. They don't see much of anybody. They have their destination, they have their agenda, and that's it. Their consciousness is extremely focused and extremely narrow. And there are others who are just naturally aware of everybody and everything going on around them. You know, the old saying about mothers having eyes in the back of their heads. Well, that's their consciousness is so attuned to the needs of their children that those children exist within the aura, the ring pass nod of the mother.
That's what they used to say about teachers, too.
They see everything. Nothing escapes them. Those are people who are very expanded and inclusive in their consciousness. So we shouldn't assume that everybody is fully conscious or even somewhat conscious. My opinion is a lot of people are quite unaware of themselves in relationship to the larger world.
Yeah, consciousness is actually, it comes from a Latin word, well, two Latin words, I think. Con, which is the word for with, and what is it? Seal? Shus, to know. And put it together, it means that with which we know. So it's a state of being aware and the ability to respond to stimuli, to essentially the world around you. And the ability to respond, I think, is the key word here, because if you don't respond, you're obviously not too conscious of it.
And I suppose anyone who's raised a baby to adulthood would be able to document that expanding of consciousness as the baby passes from infancy, where he's totally engrossed in the world from which he just came, and gradually becomes connected to the outer world. And a lot of people who study the spiritual growth of children speak about the sense of spiritual connection that very young children often have when they're fairly new to Earth, and that sadly it seems to slip away as they become more and more integrated into society and the world.
Yes, and I think there's not enough relating consciousness to the factor of the soul, because that's really the source of where our consciousness comes from. There is a belief, I think, in the scientific community, perhaps, that consciousness arises out of the physical genes or the brain cells, but that's just one approach. But from my point of view, I think consciousness is given. It comes by way of the soul. It comes from those inner planes. That is the true source of what we call consciousness, because that's where we get this ability to adapt and to this. What am I trying to say? The stimulation of the environment. So.
Yeah, consciousness needs form to contact the environment. That's why we have bodies. That's why we have a mind and emotions. We need those mechanisms, as I understand it, to make contact with others.
And that's why we have the brain, because we have a mind because we need the brain for the mind to work.
But the problem is that the individual so often becomes completely identified with and attached to the form in which it is temporarily residing. The soul consciousness uses these bodies as vehicles. The Bhagavad Gita speaks of it as a chariot that the soul rides in. Our physical body is a chariot through which our soul rides for 80 or 90 years on Earth, and then gives it up and moves on to a better chariot. But we become so identified with that chariot that we think that expresses the sum total of what we are, and that's the whole problem about human consciousness, that we are fixed in this form which is purely material and which is separated from all other forms. Our borders of our physical form stop at the skin, And so it perpetuates this illusion that we're separate from everyone and everything else, when in fact, on the level of consciousness, we're all connected. I think probably many of our listeners might have had an experience where they've shared a dream with someone else. I've had that, where I've had the same dream as another person. And it was quite a remarkable realization that it's very fluid up there. But on the physical level, where many of us are identified, things are separate and concretized, and that's the problem with consciousness. But we need this form in order to live in the world, and the whole goal of divinity, I think, is to become expressed through form, not imprisoned in it, but to express its radiance and its glory through form.
Would it be correct to say that the body, the physicality, is analogous perhaps to an article of clothing?
Yes, it's something you put on and then you shed, you being the soul.
Yeah.
You take it on at birth and you shed it at death, and both are completely normal.
And then the consciousness remains after the clothing is taken off.
The consciousness abides, and those who have had near-death experiences can testify to that.
And the identity of the person, or that factor of identity, also remains, and that's what moves on. You never lose that sense of identity.
For those people who just tuned in, you're listening to Inner Sight. Our theme for today is consciousness, and we're continuing to explore that theme, but I think it's important at this point to tell you how we can send you your gift and what that gift is. We have a pamphlet for you today that is very much in sync with what we're talking about today. The title of the pamphlet is The Energy of Light, and it may enable you to explore today's topics a bit further. If you'd like that pamphlet, you can give us a call at 1-866 695-8247. An easy way to remember it is 1-866-NY-LUCIS, L-U-C-I-S. Think of 1-866 New York Lucis. And all the work of the Lucis Trust, including this radio program, is funded by the voluntary donations of people like yourselves who support the goals of the Lucis Trust. We are not endowed, nor do we have a wealthy benefactor who helps to pay for this program. We depend on the donations, large and small, of individuals. So please give if you want these programs to continue on the air. Donations can be sent to Lucis Trust, 120 Wall Street, New York, New York, 10005. And once again, if you'd like to order our books, cassette tapes of past radio shows, cassette tapes of some of our books, and if you'd like a free booklet containing the Great Invocation, schedule of our meditation meetings, or for more information on our organization, contact us once again. And also you can ask for the free pamphlet at this phone number. It's 1-866 695-8247, and the easy way to remember it is 1-866-NY-LUCIS. If you'd like to key into our library of archived shows that we've done previously, we have a very big number of them now. You'll find different topics, different themes that you might enjoy listening to. www.lucistrust.org. Descartes once said, "I think, therefore I am," and I always looked upon that as, well, the only beings that I think are human beings, but maybe that's not so. Are there different stages of consciousness?
Yes, according to the ageless wisdom, consciousness permeates the whole manifested universe, not only the human realm, but there's consciousness in the mineral kingdom, which is leading to the development of discrimination. According to the ageless wisdom, there's consciousness in the vegetable kingdom, which is leading to the quality of sentiency, of being sensitive. People who talk to their plants are helping develop that sentiency. And there's consciousness in the animal kingdom, which is producing the development of will and purpose. And I think of my cat Starlight, who taught me a lot about the will. And in the human kingdom, the goal is the development of the a sense of the group, of